Big surprise. The big room was quiet. Only the soft beeps of machines broke the silence. Dr. Zix, a tall alien with blue skin, looked at the screen. His big eyes blinked fast. Something was wrong with the data. "This can't be right," he muttered. His long fingers tapped on the keyboard. The other scientists in the lab looked up. They knew Dr. Zix never made mistakes. The Galactic Council's top-secret lab was hidden on a small moon. Here, the best alien minds studied life from all over the universe. But today, they faced a puzzle they couldn't solve. Dr. Zix turned to his team. "Come look at this," he said. The other scientists crowded around his screen. They saw a strange DNA pattern. It twisted and turned in ways they had never seen before. "Whose DNA is this?" asked Dr. Gloop, a short, round alien. Dr. Zix took a deep breath. "It's human DNA." The room went silent. Humans were new to the galactic community. They had just invented space travel. Most aliens thought humans were primitive and weak. But this DNA, Dr. Zix pointed at the screen. It shows humans can heal from anything. They can regrow limbs. They can even come back from death. The other scientists gasped. This was impossible. No species could cheat death like this. Dr. Pluk, a tall, thin alien, shook his head. "We must have made a mistake. Let's check again." They ran more tests. They checked and double-checked their work. But the result was always the same. Humans couldn't die. Just then, a clumsy intern named Blorp walked into the lab. He was carrying a tray of test tubes. "I brought the samples you asked for," he said. But Blorp tripped on his own tentacle. The tray flew out of his hands. Glass tubes crashed to the floor. One of them held the human DNA sample. The tiny tube shattered. A fine mist rose into the air. Alarms started blaring. "No," shouted Dr. Zix. "That's the human DNA. It's in the air." Panic broke out in the lab. Scientists ran in all directions. Some tried to seal the doors. Others grabbed air filters. But it was too late. The human DNA had spread throughout the room. Dr. Gloop looked terrified. "What will happen to us?" he asked. No one knew the answer. Would they all become immortal? Would the human DNA change them in strange ways? As the chaos unfolded, a young scientist named Lyria sat quietly at her desk. She had always been fascinated by humans. Now she watched a drop of the human DNA sample on her hand. It glowed softly. Lyria felt a tingle in her fingers. Then, a small cut on her hand started to heal. She gasped. The human DNA was already changing her. Meanwhile, Dr. Zix was trying to call the Galactic Council, but the communication system was down. The human DNA had affected the electronics too. "We're trapped in here," he announced. The other scientists looked scared. What would happen to them now? Suddenly, the lab's big screen flickered to life. A news report was playing. The reporter, a green alien with antenna, looked excited. "Breaking news," she said. "Strange reports are coming in from all over the galaxy. People are healing from injuries in minutes. Some say they can't feel pain anymore. Is this the end of death as we know it?" The scientists in the lab looked at each other. Their secret was out. Somehow, the human DNA had spread beyond their lab. It was changing the whole galaxy. Dr. Zix sat down heavily in his chair. "What have we done?" he whispered. But Lyria was smiling. She looked at her fully healed hand. "Maybe this isn't so bad," she said. "Think of all the good we could do with this power." Just then, the lab's door burst open. A team of Galactic Council guards rushed in. They wore special suits to protect them from the human DNA. "Everyone stay calm," the leader said. "We're here to help." But as they entered the lab, something strange happened. Their suits started to melt. The human DNA was so powerful, it could break through any barrier. The guards looked at their dissolving suits in horror. Then, slowly, they started to laugh. The human DNA was affecting their minds too. I feel amazing. One guard shouted. He started doing backflips in the low gravity of the moon. Dr. Zix couldn't believe his eyes. The most serious, stern guards in the galaxy were now acting like happy children. As the craziness continued, Lyria walked to the big window of the lab. She looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, on a little blue planet, humans were going about their day. They had no idea they had just changed the universe forever. I wonder what they're like, Lyria thought. These amazing, immortal beings. Little did she know, a ship full of humans was already on its way to the Galactic Council. The biggest adventure in the history of the universe was about to begin. And it all started with one tiny drop of human DNA. Humans show up. The Galactic Council was in chaos. News about the immortal humans had spread everywhere. Aliens from all corners of the universe were scared and excited. They all wanted answers. Just then, a strange ship appeared in the sky. It was small and not very pretty. It looked like it was made from old metal parts. The aliens watched as it landed in front of the council building. The ship's door opened with a hiss. A ramp came down. Everyone held their breath. What would these immortal humans look like? Out stepped a group of people. They looked normal. They had 2 arms, 2 legs, and 1 head each. They weren't very tall or very short. They weren't glowing or floating. They just walked down the ramp, looking around with big eyes. The leader of the humans was a woman named Sarah. She had dark skin and curly hair. She smiled and waved at the aliens. "Hello," she said. "We come in peace." The aliens didn't know what to do. Some of them waved back. Others hid behind each other. A brave alien named Zorp stepped forward. He was tall and had purple skin. "Welcome to the Galactic Council," Zorp said. His voice was shaking a little. "We've heard interesting things about you humans." Sarah nodded. "We've heard some crazy rumors too. Something about us being immortal." She laughed. "That's pretty funny." The aliens looked confused. Didn't the humans know about their special DNA? Zorp led the humans into the big council room. Aliens of all shapes and sizes sat in rows, watching the humans closely. Some of them took pictures with their alien phones. Sarah and her team sat down at a big table. The head of the council, a wise old alien named Glix, spoke up. "Humans," he said, "we have discovered something amazing about you. Your DNA can heal any injury. It can even bring you back from death. Is this true?" The humans looked at each other, surprised. "Well," Sarah said, "we can heal from lots of things. But we're not immortal. We can die." The room filled with whispers. The aliens were confused. How could the humans not know about their own power? "Maybe we should tell them our history," said Tom, one of the humans. He was tall and had a big beard. It might help explain things. Sarah nodded. She stood up and began to tell the story of Earth. She talked about how humans had fought big wars, how they had survived diseases and disasters. She told them about explorers who climbed tall mountains and divers who went deep into the ocean. "We've been through a lot," Sarah said, "but we always keep going. We don't give up easily." The aliens listened, amazed. They had never heard of a species that had been through so much. "But what about the dinosaurs?" asked a small green alien. "We heard you lived with giant monsters." Tom laughed. "Oh no, the dinosaurs were long gone before humans came around. But we did find their bones and learned about them." Sarah continued the story. She told them about human art, music, and books. She talked about how humans had dreams of exploring space. "We've always looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there," she said. "And now here we are." As Sarah talked, something strange started to happen. The aliens began to feel different. They felt stronger, braver. Some of them even felt like they could do anything. A young alien named Blip suddenly stood up. "I want to try something," he said. Blip had always been shy and clumsy, but now he felt brave. Everyone watched as Blip ran and jumped. He did a perfect flip in the air and landed on his feet. The room filled with cheers. "How did you do that?" asked Zorb, amazed. Blip shrugged. "I just felt like I could. So I did it." More aliens started trying new things. Some found they could lift heavy objects easily. Others could solve hard math problems in their heads. The humans watched, confused but happy. They didn't know why, but they seemed to be helping the aliens somehow. Glix, the council head, stood up. "Humans," he said, "I think I understand now. Your strength isn't in being immortal. It's in your spirit. Your DNA doesn't just heal your bodies. It carries your courage, your creativity, your never-give-up attitude. And somehow, it's affecting all of us." The room was quiet. Then, slowly, the aliens began to clap. Soon, everyone was cheering for the humans. Sarah and her team looked at each other, surprised but proud. They had come to meet new alien friends. Instead, they had brought a gift to the whole galaxy. As the cheering continued, a small alien child walked up to Sarah. "Can you teach me to be brave like you?" the child asked. Sarah smiled and knelt down. "You're already brave," she said. "You just have to believe in yourself." The child's eyes lit up. It hugged Sarah tightly. Outside the council building, word was spreading fast. Aliens everywhere were feeling the effects of the human spirit. The galaxy would never be the same again. And this was just the beginning of humanity's great space adventure. The crazy tests. The Galactic Council was buzzing with excitement. The humans had arrived and turned everything upside down. But some aliens were still not sure. They wanted proof. They wanted to see just how tough these humans really were. "We need to test them," shouted Zorgax, a grumpy old alien with spikes all over his body. "Let's see if they're really as amazing as they say." The council agreed. They would put the humans through a series of crazy tests. Sarah and her team looked at each other nervously. What had they gotten themselves into? The first test was called the Pit of Doom. It was a deep hole filled with sticky goo. The goo could melt almost anything. The aliens were sure no one could survive it. Tom, the bearded human, volunteered to go first. He took a deep breath and jumped in. The aliens gasped. Surely, this was the end of Tom. But a few minutes later, bubbles appeared on the surface of the goo. Then, to everyone's surprise, Tom's head popped out. He was grinning from ear to ear. "That was fun," he shouted. "It tickles." The aliens couldn't believe their eyes. Tom climbed out, covered in goo but completely fine. His skin wasn't even itchy. Next was the freezer. It was a room so cold that it could turn most beings into ice in seconds. Sarah stepped up for this one. As soon as she entered the room, frost covered her body. The aliens watched on screens, sure that Sarah would become a human popsicle. But then something amazing happened. Sarah started to dance. She did the moonwalk, then the robot. She was having a great time. When she came out, she was laughing. "That was cool," she said, and everyone groaned at the bad joke. The aliens were shocked. How could humans be so tough? And why did they keep making jokes? A young alien named Blip was watching all this with wide eyes. He had never seen anything like it. He turned to his new human friend, a girl named Mia. "Don't you ever get scared?" he asked her. Mia smiled. "Of course we do," she said. "But being brave isn't about not feeling fear. It's about facing it and doing what you need to do anyway." Blip thought about this. Maybe he could learn to be brave too. The next test was called the Gravity Crusher. It was a room where gravity could be turned up super high. Most beings would be squashed flat. This time, a human named Alex volunteered. He was tall and skinny, and the aliens thought he would snap like a twig. As the gravity increased, Alex fell to his knees. It looked like he was in trouble. But then, slowly, he started to stand up. It was hard, but he kept pushing. Finally, Alex was standing tall, even though the gravity was 100 times stronger than Earth's. He flexed his muscles and winked at the camera. The aliens went wild. They had never seen such strength. But the craziest test was yet to come. It was simply called the End. No one knew what it was, but it sounded scary. All the humans went in together. The room was completely white. Suddenly, everything went black. The aliens couldn't see what was happening inside. Hours passed. The aliens were getting worried. Had they gone too far? Had they really found the humans' limit? Just as they were about to stop the test, the door opened. Out walked the humans, looking exactly the same as when they went in. "What happened in there?" asked Zorgax, his spikes quivering with curiosity. Sarah shrugged. "Nothing much," she said. "We just sat around and talked. It was kind of boring, actually." The aliens were confused. But it was supposed to be the ultimate test," sputtered Zorgax. Tom laughed. "Maybe for you guys," he said. "But for us, just hanging out and chatting is no big deal. We do it all the time." That's when the aliens realized something important. The human strength wasn't just in their bodies. It was in their minds too. They could handle boredom, fear, pain, and still keep their sense of humor. As the tests ended, something strange started happening. The aliens who had been watching began to change. They felt stronger, braver. Some even started cracking jokes. Blip, the young alien, suddenly felt very brave. He walked up to the scariest-looking alien in the room and said hello. To his surprise, the scary alien smiled back. Mia saw this and gave Blip a high five. "See," she said, "you're braver than you thought." The head of the council, Glix, stood up. "I think we've learned something important today," he said. "The humans' greatest strength isn't that they can't die. It's that they know how to live." Everyone cheered. The humans had passed every test, but more importantly, they had taught the aliens a valuable lesson. As the day ended, humans and aliens were laughing together, sharing stories, and becoming friends. The galaxy would never be the same again. And somewhere in the universe, a new adventure was just beginning. Galaxy Gone Wild. News about the amazing humans spread faster than light across the galaxy. Every alien with a space phone or telepathic antenna was talking about it. The galaxy had gone completely wild. On the planet Zub, a group of slimy aliens were having a heated debate. "I want to be best friends with a human," shouted Glorp, waving his tentacles excitedly. "No way," yelled Blurp, hiding under a rock. "They're too scary. What if they step on us?" Meanwhile, on the ice world of Frigidia, things were heating up. The usually cool Frigidians were throwing snowballs at each other, laughing like never before. "I feel so alive," shouted Queen Icicla, usually the most serious Frigidian of all. She was making snow angels and giggling. Back at the Galactic Council, Sarah and her human team were trying to make sense of it all. Aliens from all over were sending them messages, asking for advice, or just saying hi. "I never thought we'd be so popular," said Tom, scratching his beard. "We're like space rock stars." Just then, a group of musical aliens called the Melodians floated into the room. They looked like colorful clouds with eyes. Humans. They sang in perfect harmony. "We want to start a band with you." Sarah looked surprised. "A band? But we don't know how to play alien instruments." The Melodians laughed, their colors swirling. "No problem. We'll be the instruments. You just need to think of the music." And so, the first ever human alien band was formed. They called themselves the Milky Way Mixers. Their first song, "Oops, We Broke the Galaxy," became an instant hit across the universe. But not everyone was happy about the humans. On the planet Paranoia, aliens were building underground bunkers. "The immortal humans are coming," they whispered to each other. "We must hide." Little did they know, their bunkers were accidentally being built with materials infused with human DNA. Soon, the paranoid aliens found themselves throwing parties in their bunkers instead of hiding. Back on Earth, humans were just starting to realize something was up. People were doing amazing things without even trying. Old grandmas were lifting cars to save kittens. Kids were solving complex math problems in their sleep. Everyone felt braver, stronger, and happier. The Earth leaders didn't know what to do. They called an emergency meeting with Sarah's team at the Galactic Council. "What's happening to our planet?" they asked, looking worried. Sarah tried to explain about the human DNA spreading across the galaxy. The Earth leaders looked confused. "So, we're all superheroes now?" asked the President of the United States. "Not exactly," said Sarah, "but we're all becoming the best versions of ourselves." As they were talking, a small alien child wandered into the room. It looked lost and scared. Tom knelt down beside it. "Hey there, little one. Are you okay?" The alien child looked up at Tom with big watery eyes. I can't find my way home," it said in a tiny voice. Without hesitation, Tom scooped up the child in his arms. "Don't worry," he said with a smile. "We'll help you find your family." The Earth leaders watched in amazement. They had never seen diplomacy like this before. Meanwhile, funny misunderstandings were happening all over the galaxy. On the planet of the logicians, where everything was always serious, aliens suddenly couldn't stop telling jokes. "Why did the human cross the galaxy?" one logician asked. "To get to the other side." Another answered, and they both burst into very logical laughter. The Floofians, a race of cute, fluffy aliens, decided they wanted to be tough like humans. They started wearing leather jackets and saying "yo" a lot. It was adorably hilarious. But the funniest thing happened on the planet Gastro, home of the universe's pickiest eaters. Human taste buds had somehow affected their food. "This tastes good," exclaimed a shocked Gastroian, eating a vegetable for the first time. "I want more." Soon, Gastro became the culinary capital of the galaxy, with humans and aliens alike lining up to try their new delicious dishes. As all this was happening, Sarah and her team were working hard to understand their new role in the galaxy. They set up a help desk to answer questions from aliens all over the universe. "No, humans don't actually shoot lasers from their eyes," Sarah explained to one disappointed alien. "Yes, it's normal for humans to sleep." "No, we're not just pretending," Tom told another. But the most important question came from Blip, the young alien who had become friends with Mia. "Now that we're all becoming more like you," Blip asked, "does that mean you don't need us anymore?" Mia knelt down and gave Blip a big hug. "Of course we need you," she said. "Being human isn't about having special powers. It's about being kind, curious, and always trying to be better. And you aliens have taught us so much about that already." Blip's eyes lit up. He realized that humans and aliens weren't so different after all. As the day ended, Sarah looked out at the stars. The galaxy was a wild and crazy place now, full of laughter, adventure, and new friendships. "You know," she said to her team, "I think this might be the beginning of something really amazing." Little did she know, the biggest adventure was yet to come. The universe had changed forever, and humanity's journey among the stars was just getting started. Awesome new future. The galaxy was buzzing with excitement. Humans and aliens were working together like never before. It was the start of a whole new era, and everyone could feel it. Sarah and her team were at the center of it all. They had set up a special school called Humanity 101 to teach aliens about Earth culture. It was a big hit. "Today, we're going to learn about pizza," Tom announced to a classroom full of eager aliens. The aliens watched in wonder as Tom showed them how to make a pizza. When it came out of the oven, they'd all cheered. "It's like a flat, edible spaceship," exclaimed a jellyfish-like alien named Squish. But it wasn't just aliens learning from humans. Humans were learning amazing things from aliens too. On the planet Zenith, humans were taking classes in telekinesis, moving things with their minds. It turned out humans were naturals at it. "It's just like using the Force," shouted an excited human named Jake as he lifted a boulder with his thoughts. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council was busy with a big new project. They were building a huge amusement park in space. "We'll call it Milky Way Madness," announced Glix, the head of the council. "It'll have rides and games from every planet in the galaxy." The park was amazing. It had roller coasters that looped around asteroids, a haunted house filled with friendly ghosts from the planet Spook, and a petting zoo with cute alien creatures. The most popular ride was called the Human Experience. Aliens could try things that humans did every day, like eating ice cream, riding a bicycle, or trying to understand cat videos. "This brain-freeze sensation is most peculiar," said a three-headed alien, eating an ice cream cone with all three mouths. But it wasn't all fun and games. Humans were using their never-give-up spirit to solve big problems across the galaxy. On the desert planet Eridas, humans helped build huge machines that could turn sand into water. The Iridians were overjoyed. "We've been thirsty for 1,000 years." They cheered, doing happy sand dances. In the nebula of eternal night, where no light had shone for millions of years, humans introduced the concept of disco balls. Soon, the nebula was twinkling with thousands of tiny spinning lights. "It's like a cosmic dance party," exclaimed the nebula dwellers, who had never seen anything so bright and cheerful. But the biggest challenge came from an unexpected place. A group of grumpy old aliens called the Ancients appeared in their giant spaceship. "We are the oldest beings in the universe," they boomed. "And we say humans are too dangerous. They must be stopped." Everyone was worried. The Ancients were very powerful, but Sarah had an idea. "Let's invite them to Earth for a special event," she suggested. "We'll show them what humanity is really all about." And so the Galactic Olympic Games were born. It was a huge festival where humans and aliens from all over the galaxy came together to play, compete, and have fun. There were traditional human sports like soccer and swimming. But there were also alien sports like anti-gravity wrestling and telepathic chess. The Ancients watched from their floating thrones, looking unimpressed at first. But as the games went on, something started to change. They saw humans cheering for alien competitors. They watched aliens and humans working together in team events. And most importantly, they saw everyone having a great time, win or lose. During the closing ceremony, something amazing happened. The youngest ancient, who was only 1,000,000 years old, floated down from her throne. I want to try this thing you call dancing," she said shyly. The crowd went wild. Soon, humans and aliens were teaching the Ancients how to do the Macarena. It was a sight no one ever thought they'd see. As the party went on, Sarah found a quiet spot to watch the fun. Blip, her young alien friend, joined her. "You humans really changed everything, didn't you?" Blip said, looking out at the joyful crowd. Sarah smiled. "We didn't change things, Blip. We just reminded everyone how to have fun and work together. The galaxy was always awesome. It just needed a little push." Blip nodded. Then he had an idea. "Hey, want to go try that new ice cream flavor? I heard it tastes like stardust." Sarah laughed. "Sure, why not? Let's go on an ice cream adventure." As they walked off together, human and alien side by side, it was clear that this was just the beginning. The universe had always been full of wonders, but now, with humans and aliens working together, it was becoming even more wonderful. New friendships were being made every day. New discoveries were waiting around every star. And the spirit of adventure that humans had brought to the galaxy was spreading like wildfire. The Galactic Council, once so serious and formal, was now planning its first-ever karaoke night. Earth had become a popular vacation spot for aliens wanting to experience things like rainbows, puppies, and roller coasters. And somewhere out in the vast cosmos, A group of human and alien explorers were setting out to map the edges of the universe, armed with nothing but their wits, their friendship, and a really good playlist. The future was bright, exciting, and full of possibilities. And it all started because humans didn't know how to die. They only knew how to live, laugh, and love. As the twin suns set on another exciting day in the galaxy, one thing was clear. The greatest adventure in the history of the universe was just getting started. And everyone, human and alien alike, couldn't wait to see what would happen next.